Today, I state publicly that I am a survivor of Jersey's care system and a children's service in Ireland that failed myself and my family in numerous ways, which I do not wish to go into. I am actually a very private person who never wished in any way to be defined by my past, about experiences that I had no control over, which, although I would say I've done a pretty decent job of overcoming, have left shadows with me. I believe most of you will understand what those shadows are, and you will be at different stages of lessening the impact that they have on your life. For these reasons, I'm going to be honest and say I am furious that I need to be here at all today to make this speech, all because once again victims and survivors are not being listened to. I'm going to be honest and confess that I chose to not be part of the care inquiry and did not wish to be part of any of the processes around this because of the safeguards that I chose to put in place for myself. However, after witnessing what was happening around the memorial and becoming aware of the mental and emotional impact that this proposed landmark was having on a number of individuals, I could no longer ignore it. Seeing the courage being demonstrated today by our very own warrior, the lioness that is Cheyenne, fighting in the only way that she knows how by using her voice, I knew that I had to do similarly. Because as someone who has spent much of her life both in and out of my day job, supporting, fighting and campaigning for the vulnerable and marginalised groups both nationally and internationally, I could not, in good conscience, stay silent on this and turn away from my own community. So I stand here in front of you in the hope that I can amplify the voices of those who feel unable to speak at this time. Now, as Cheyenne has said, we all need to be honest with ourselves and recognise that no matter what happens over the next few months, there will be no real winners, because nobody gets to truly win in this situation. But what we do get to do is to survive in the best possible way we can. And more than that, to ensure that not one person here, or who could not face coming today, is left in a situation where they would rather choose to end their life rather than face a constant reminder of their past. We owe that to each other, and the island owes it to us. I, as Cheyenne, want to make clear that I think there is a way forward, and I think that way forward must include the voices of as many victims and survivors as possible. Equally, nobody should be forced to take part in discussions or a vote who does not wish to, and we do not judge those who feel they are not in a place where they can do that. But let me get something straight. There is only one group of people that get to make this decision, and that is the survivors, period. This should not be about our island's government or others trying to ease their conscience about its failure to protect children, to protect us. But rather, any decisions being moving forward should be about demonstrating true remorse, humility, and an absolute commitment to listening to children and to the vulnerable, to getting it right so that no future generation has to stand here again. Taglines or slogans for departments should be promises kept, not tokenistic words for PR purposes. I also want to say that I think it's absolutely abhorrent that some are using the current situation to try to score political points or to attack someone who has a different political viewpoint to them. And I say to them now, if you are here to take a pop at a political opponent, especially if you are somebody that heckled a former senator as he took his stand for victims in our local parliament, then you are absolutely not our allies, and shame on you. This is... This is not about you, and how dare you make it such by hijacking others' anguish for your aims. The measure of any individual is not in their words, but absolutely in their actions. Now, I know the Children's Minister has taken a stand for the vulnerable numerous times in the past, unlike others. I'm also aware that he was not involved in the original decision making and that these conversations and decisions were had and made long before he took up his role. But unfortunately, he also needs to understand that because of his position and media reports, he has rightly or wrongly become the face of the memorial, and that people will believe that the buck stops with him. Now, to the government as a whole, I say that it is long past time for you to start listening to everyone directly impacted by this, no matter what came before and what decisions have been made.
We need all-Ireland voting, that's what we need, like Guernsey. That's what we want.
Throughout history, the working class have all too regularly been overlooked, oppressed, violated and denied platforms and equal access to opportunities. But let me remind you all here, as a proud working class female, it is also the working classes around the world who built our communities and the wealth of our nations. We have always been the ones that have been on the battlefields, whether literal or on the streets of our communities, fighting on the front line for our rights and others to live with freedom and dignity. We will not be silenced on this, and nobody other than us gets to decide what works for us. Whilst the mental and emotional well-being of one individual is negatively impacted by the proposed memorial, I make a promise to the government today. I put you on notice that if you continue to proceed in this manner, I will make sure that the site is occupied day and night to prevent such a damaging landmark being put up. Nobody will be made to feel less safe because of an ill-informed decision making. Anything else will be blood on your hands. I have fired the warning shots.